Hey everyone, welcome back to LightHearted, where we're talking about navigating life's darkest moments and finding the light. I'm Britton.
And I'm Rachel. Today we're going to be talking about something really special. We're talking about kindness, specifically those everyday acts that we can do that can really change someone's life. We're diving into some small gestures like compliments or thoughtful texts that can really change someone's day.
I also think it can really change how they feel about life in general. Those small little things definitely add up.
Definitely.
When I think about kindness, I think about a time way back when I was in high school. It wasn't that long ago. It was like 12 years ago. But I was going through, I know I'm old. I was just really going through it. I was having a really tough time. I was feeling super broken, super alone. I didn't feel like I really had anybody, which I don't think is a unique experience. I think we all kind of experience that. But on one of my darkest days, I got a text from a boy that I knew growing up, and he went to the other high school, had no reason to even tune in that something was wrong with me, but just randomly texted me out of the blue and said, "Hey, I'm just really thankful that we're friends. I'm thankful that I know you." And I think I'm going to cry because to this day, I don't think he understands the impact that had on me in that very moment that I really, really needed somebody to reach out. So, it wasn't this crazy, confession of love or anything from him. It was just hey, I'm really glad that you're around. And I needed to hear that. So, I've been out of high school for 12 solid years, but I still think about that moment so often and how that really changed my outlook on life and my outlook on other people. And I also feel like it changed something in me where I try to be more in tune with other people. And if someone does randomly pop into my head, I'll probably send you a text just to say that I'm thankful that you're around.
Yeah.
And so I think the effect, the long-term effect that him just sending a text that took 5 seconds. But now that's something that I practice every single day because he took a minute to do that. So it just really changed my life.
So amazing.
Thank you.
I love that so much. I think for me, I can think of a few scenarios, but one that I go back to a lot is when I was 11, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. And maybe this isn't super random because a lot of people, chip in and stuff in those times. But I specifically remember some ladies from our church had come over. I don't even know how far into it was because my mom was doing chemo, it was stage 4, so it was a long process. But I remember them coming over, and I think they had went to Sam's Club or something, and they had bought just groceries and snacks and tons of things and just filled up our house, which was so sweet. And growing up, we had enough to live on. It wasn't we were broke or anything, but we never got to get the cool snacks some of the people in my life did. It was no,
you get the minimum.
Right. We're not going out and getting all these cool individually packed snacks, and not that kids need that, but I remember them bringing stuff like that. And I just remember thinking it was the coolest thing and that was really sweet. So that really sticks out to me.
I think it's cool in moments like that too, where it's they literally could have done the bare minimum where they're here's your bread, here's your milk. And that would have been fine.
Right. Yeah.
That would have been helpful.
Right.
But the fact that they even took it a step further and they were how do we get these kids some fun snacks that'll take care of them?
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah. It was fun.
That's amazing. It's always really surprising to me that the tiniest things are often the things that leave the biggest mark on us.
Right. I feel sharing kindness might give you it helps the person sharing it. It really does help you, but maybe for the day.
Yeah.
Or for the week. It's oh yeah, I shared that kindness. And that boy you were talking about, he's not going to think about that now.
No.
Maybe for the day he felt good about oh, I reached out and that made me feel good that I was
did the
kind to
thing.
something, but not to the extent that it impacted you.
Yeah. I agree with that completely. Yeah. I think we need to not forget what a huge impact it can have, even if it seems like something small. I think sometimes it can be easy too to be well, I don't have that much to give.
Yeah.
Right. Or I don't have that much time, or I don't have enough money, or I don't have this. Right. It can be so easy to just be what do I have to share with somebody?
Right.
But literally it's a text or a smile or a phone call or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if we can focus on being more kind, it can definitely shift our perspective as well as the people receiving those kindnesses. And then it helps us to find light even in really tough situations. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about how we can be more intentional about spreading kindness in our everyday lives. What are some things that you do?
I think I've been on the receiving end of very large things and very small things. So just because I'm talking about small things, like I also recognize the really big things. But for me, it really is about like focusing on the small, simple gestures, because I think those are often the harder ones to remember to do.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, because obviously it's like, oh, someone is in need, I can help them with this giant thing, right? Like that's like an easy next step. But
Right.
focusing on the small ones is sometimes harder for me because I'm like, they don't need that from me. They're fine. So I try to focus on like complimenting people. I know how often that has just changed my entire day. Like I've been really like uncomfortable with like the pair of pants that I chose or something.
Yeah.
And then someone's like, your pants are so cute. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden I like
Yeah.
just immediately feel so much better for the rest of the day about the choice that I made that I was really self-conscious about.
Yeah.
So I really try to do that.
She does a really good job at that.
Thank you. Thank you. I try really hard to do that. And so I like knowing that I'm making other people feel happy, and then it makes me feel good knowing that I'm like spreading some positivity into the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
What kinds of things do you do?
That is something that I want to get better at. I feel like the small things, like you said, like when something big is happening, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, like this person is really struggling. Like, let me, whatever. But
Yeah.
just randomly, like on a random day, I'm not one to typically, reach out or do stuff like that. So I want to do better at that. But I feel like for instance, after spending time with you, I am better at doing those things because it's like the ripple effect. Like
Aww.
you are so good.
That's so cute.
No, but you're so good at like just giving random compliments or just hyping people up.
Yeah.
You're really good at it.
Thank
So then I
you.
feel good when I go home, and then it's like I have more to give.
Yeah.
So
It is like, it fills you up.
it does.
Yeah. I like that you're saying though, like that you want to get better at that. I don't think you're bad at that. Let me make that really clear. I think you're amazing, and I love spending time with you because I feel like you always build me up too. But I definitely think like you're not alone in that. We're going to say that 500 times in this podcast. Like you're not alone in that feeling of like, I don't really know what I have to give, or like, I'm not very good at that. And so like, if that's you, that's okay. We're going to talk about some daily practices like later on, just like quick tips to add into your life. You also mentioned the ripple effect, which like the ripple effect is definitely real. So like when we're kind to someone, they're more likely to pass it on, and it creates this like beautiful little chain of kindness where everyone can just be happy and nice to each other. And I really love that.
So true.
Love
It's
the
like when
vibes.
one person pays for someone in the drive-thru and it just keeps going.
Yeah. I know all of you guys that work in places like that. Like you hate that, and we respect that, but it's kind of awesome.
It's probably so difficult, but it's cool because it's like, I wonder how long this is.
Yeah. And it's like, you don't want to be the person to break the chain.
Right.
I will say for like the drive-through thing, I really love when people have like a reason for doing it. So one time, I used to have this giant dog. His name was Zeus. He was awesome. He passed away, R.I.P., and we love him. But he used to sit in my passenger seat, and he was taller than I was. Like when he would sit down, he was just this massive beast of a dog. And one time somebody in front of me at Starbucks paid for my drink and told them to tell me that they thought my dog was amazing. And so like they paid for my drink because they liked my dog. And it like,
That's so cute.
and that was like the nicest thing that ever could have happened. I was like, you compliment my dog and you buy my drink? Like that was really nice.
Aw, I love that.
And like, again, that was probably 4 years ago. And here we are talking about it on a podcast because it changed my life.
So much kindness.
Rachel, do you have any just stories of kindness that you've either been on the receiving end of, you've been a part of, you've just seen somebody else do something really nice that had an impact on you? Do you have anything that you could share about that?
I need to think about that for a minute, I think.
Yeah.
There's a few things that come to mind. Part of me is like, I don't want to share when I'm kind to someone because then it's like,
It feels braggy.
but it's fine. But honestly, it comes from you. One of the things I'm thinking about is you had told me that you, when someone's struggling, like you would just send them a little gift or like whatever. And even if it's not like a big thing. And my sister-in-law was struggling at one point a few months back. And I just remember thinking, that's a really good idea. I really like that idea. So I went and I got her some of her favorite things and I gave her a basket. And like, she cried. And it was just like, okay, like, you don't have to buy a bunch of fancy things or do anything special, but like just getting her the things that I know she liked. And like, that was so sweet to her. And it made me feel so good, like that I could make her feel happy, even if it was just for a minute in her struggles. I'm also thinking about my birthday.
We love your birthday.
Thank you. I can tend to be a little controlling, especially when it comes to like my birthday. I've planned my birthday since I was 5, you guys. It's just who I am, okay? So with that, and it's partially my fault, I've never been like surprised with anything because I'm ahead of the game. I plan it before anyone else has even a chance.
And you're a good planner.
Right. And I like doing it, but
yeah.
I feel like I've never really been surprised with anything. And last year I came to work.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to talk about that.
I came to work and it was like 2 days before my birthday or something. And I watched her son. And so I came to work and she had a cake and a gift. And it was like, it wasn't the gift.
I just love you.
Like, it wasn't like that you spent money on me. It was like that you thought of me.
Aww.
And like took the time to like set it up and turn the lights off and sing happy birthday to me. And like, I feel like that was so special to me.
Oh my gosh.
And I went home and I was just like so giddy. Like, I was so giddy because it was just like,
I'm crying.
Okay.
I'm like full crying.
I feel like I keep saying and like
I say like
sorry,
that too.
guys.
It's okay.
But really, like, it meant so much.
I'm so glad that but see, I like we talked about this earlier, like the person giving it doesn't realize that.
Yeah.
So I'm so like, that makes me really happy. I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
I love that. One that was coming to my mind was you. I was going through one of my darkest moments, having a really tough time, and Rachel put together a little goodie basket with all of my very favorite things, and then like figured out where I was going to be and met me at the store that I was at so that she could make sure that I had it that day. And it really did, like, it just made me feel so like so cozy and so loved and so like understood, and it like that meant a lot. And then like my son saw that and he knew that it was from you, and so seeing that like there were so many people around that just like love us and want to take care of us, it just it changed a lot. So I
had forgotten that I had done that
you
too.
did that.
So like,
you did that.
it is really, I guess, that you just,
it was amazing. And okay, this is so like such a niche topic. Okay, I love sesame seeds on everything. On everything.
it's a problem, guys.
It's amazing. But like, she included things like that. So she put some of my like favorite drinks in there, and she put like little jars of sesame seeds. And so there's like this whole concept on TikTok right now of like, to be loved is to be understood. And so I think in that moment, like, I just really felt understood, and like I felt like you were like, I know who you are. And it felt really good.
I feel like that's one of the biggest things that brings me joy, is when someone knows me.
Yeah.
Like, if they're going to grab me something to eat or a drink and they don't have to ask.
Yes.
And it's like my favorite thing. And I'm like, you pay attention enough to know what I like.
It's like the ultimate act of kindness.
It's so cool. Like, I just love that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I love that. I'm going to pause my mic for a sec.
That's good.
I need a minute. That was so nice. I think it's nice to see that like we've all experienced those moments. I'm talking to you guys too right now. We've all experienced those moments of kindness. And I think it's just a nice reminder that like people are good and people are generous and people are really kind.
Yeah.
Even if it's just in a small everyday way, which we talked about that being really easy to overlook. I think if you're having a tough time too, it can be hard to see the tiny kindnesses around you.
For sure.
And so I think if we can kind of shift our mental state a little bit into focusing on the kind things that happen. Like, okay, I live on kind of a busy street, and I have to turn left every day to like get out of my driveway to get where I'm trying to go in the mornings. Mm-hmm. Okay. And almost every single day, like some very kind human will stop so that I can get out in front of everything. And like, it is so nice. But like when I'm in a hurry, I don't notice that. Like, I'm not like, oh, wow, that was really kind.
Yeah.
And so I think being able to take a minute and be like, oh my gosh, like that was so generous. That was so kind of them. And it was such a small thing and they're not going to think about it anymore. But like, I could have sat in my driveway. There have been days where I sit in my driveway for like 7 minutes just waiting to get out.
Yeah.
And so it impacts my day in a really big way. And so I think focusing on that instead of being angry that it took me a long time can definitely,
That's true.
it can help.
And I feel like if it's an act of kindness that you see a lot, you can really overlook it.
You're so right.
Like if someone in your life is kind to you every day and does the same things for you, you would notice if it wasn't there.
Yeah.
But because it happens to you like every day, it's like
expected.
Yeah,
You're so right.
Yeah.
Let's brainstorm like some ways to focus on kindness.
Yeah.
So like how do we shift our brains from like busy trying to get all of our crap done to like taking a second to notice those things?
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. I think okay, so I have a 6-year-old, you know this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he is the ultimate noticer of kindness. There was one time, I think I already told you about this, but I'm going to just re-say it because I love it. One time I was driving in the car and I was at a stoplight. It was kind of like a busy parking lot. And then there's a stoplight to get out of the parking lot. It's kind of a weird space to be in. But there are people like merging from 3 different ways to get to this light. And so I stopped kind of like back facing straight at the light. And there was somebody who was trying to merge into the lane. And I was trying to let them. And they were like probably in their like 80s or 90s. They were old. Okay. And so I was like trying to wave them along, trying to be like, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, getting more and more irritated every single time. And they kept like waving me along and we were just kind of fighting back and forth. And I was getting so frustrated and I was like, what the heck? And so then my son, he was like, Mom, what's going on? And I was like, well, I'm trying to let these people go and they don't want to go and I don't understand. And he was like, well, maybe they're trying to be nice to you. Maybe they're trying to let you in to be nice. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. Thanks for sharing that with me.
Probably true.
But I was like, you know what? You're right. And that's how I need to look at that. And so I wonder if we can just like take a minute, even if we're frustrated, to be like, maybe they're doing what they think is right too. And I know that's not always the case. Some people just make bad decisions. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I think oftentimes people are just trying to make it through the day.
Yeah.
And like they're trying to be as nice as they can be. And so that was a nice reminder to me, like, maybe the 90-year-old driving the car was also trying to be nice while I was trying to be nice.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm bad at being kind when I'm tired.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, it's so hard to be patient and it's just not fun. And I don't know how people do it all the time. It's because there's those people, like, people that I'm like, how in the world? Like, for instance, I'm wearing my Kane sweatshirt today. If you don't know what that is, it's a band. Go look it up. But they're my favorite band. But I'm like, those people work so hard. Like they are traveling, they're doing, and they have kids. They're doing what, God called them to do, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And I'm sure they're exhausted. Like they've got to be tired. And yet I've seen them and talked to them so many times. And every time they are just so kind and they take the time to talk to you. Even if you're not supposed to talk to them, like even if it's not like a meet and greet scenario, like on the sidewalk, this has happened. And it's like, you don't have to be that kind to me. Like, you don't have to be rude, but you don't have to be that kind and go the extra mile. And they always do. And it's like so special to me. And I think those things just impact you so much. Like, I'm going to cry now. They don't know me. They don't have to be that nice to me, yet they choose to. And I get asked all the time, why do you keep going to the same shows, the same music? And I'm like, you're right, it is the same music.
Yeah.
I love the songs, I love the show, but it has very little to do with the songs in the show. It has to do with the people.
Yeah.
They're good people, they're kind people. And it's just like, it just fills me up. And I just love them so much. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. You've talked about like running into them like on the sidewalk or in the parking lot. And how easy would it be for them to just be like, I'm warming up right now, leave me alone. Like,
right. And it doesn't even have to be rude. It's just like, they don't have to take the time to talk to me.
Like, they don't owe you anything, but the fact that they do, like, they like run over to you to say hi is so cool.
It makes me a little.
No, they're every time you come back from a show, you talk about how amazing and how kind and how wonderful they are. I love like when people are like, we made the right people famous, right? Where I'm like, yes, like kind people should have the floor.
Because they don't care if they do or not.
They don't care. Those are the people who deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
The only way I can describe it is like they are displaying Christ so well.
Yeah.
Like, because like that's what we read about in scripture. It's like, Jesus was kind to people.
Yeah.
And so it's, it's our job to be kind to others.
And like, if you feel like you're bad at it, it is a lifelong process.
It's okay.
To learn how to be kind to people.
Well, we're all going to have bad days. So
yes,
we can't beat ourselves up over that.
Yeah. So maybe like learning to be kind, but then to also have grace for people who are unkind.
I think a big one that we all struggle with is being kind to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to talk about that one. Just kidding.
But for real, like it's so much easier to be kind to someone else.
Yes.
Than it is to yourself. Like you're going to be so much harder on yourself.
Yeah. And that sucks.
It does.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
I don't know either. What do you do to help yourself be kind to yourself?
I don't.
You don't? Oh my gosh, you need to come up with an answer for that one. I do not. I decline to answer. What? Okay, so I'm going to ask again. What do you do for yourself so that you can like practice being kind to yourself?
I take days to rot.
I love rot days.
Me too. I need them.
What does that do for you? Like, how does that help you be kind to yourself?
I don't know. I feel like, so rotting days, if you don't know what rotting days is, it's just what you do. Like you sit in your bed all day.
If you don't know what rotting days are, how is it being productive all the time? Is that fun?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like on those days, I feel really bad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. And it just makes me feel worse. But then I'm able to go out the next day with a little more energy and a little bit more like, okay, I had the time to myself to do what I wanted to do. I didn't have to, like, I could prioritize myself over everything else, which was really nice. Yeah. So that's like, I feel like that's good.
It's like the idea of not pouring from an empty cup, where it's like you have to take a minute to fill yourself up.
Hard, but I also feel like I had this conversation last night. I am going to be harder on myself. So if I can take it and go, okay, wait, if you did that, would I be as hard on you? No. No, I'd be like, you're insane. It's fine. Like, that's not a big deal. Yeah. But if it was me, I'm going to beat myself up over it for weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you can look at it as someone else, I think that would help.
I think you talked about that too, where it was just like if this person did the same exact thing that this other person is doing, would I be mad at
other
them?
People's?
Yeah, from other people's perspective. So I think that's so wise to put it on yourself too, is like, oh man, like if you were doing the same thing, or if you were wearing that, or you were acting like that, like would I beat you up over that?
Yeah.
And like the answer is almost always no. Almost always no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really I think that's really wise to think about it like that, especially those things are usually like hard and emotional and difficult to deal with. So yeah, I really like that.
I also think like when you think about someone, if someone pops in your head, like you said, just do it.
Yeah.
Like just send them a text and say, hey, how are you? Or thinking of you today. Like even just that would be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about this before. Like we're both Christians. Like we look at things through a religious lens. And so like for me, that definitely is like some divine guidance, right? Of being like, hey, I'm having you be an instrument for good right now. Mm-hmm. So like, can you just reach out to this person and see if they need some help? Yeah. Like just see what they need. And so I think if we act on that a little bit faster every time that we like think of somebody, then like what's the worst that's going to happen? Like maybe they don't respond to you.
Yeah.
But like at least they know that you exist and you're there if they need something, right? Like that's a big deal. Yeah. So I think that's one of my best tips is like, if you think of somebody, just do something about it.
Yeah.
Do something. And then just offering grace to people who are having an unkind day, because we've all been there. And I personally have had really unkind days where I'm just not feeling it. And I have had people extend me so much grace. And so it would be unfair if I didn't do the same for other people.
Yeah. That's valid. That's
like, that would not be very nice.
Yeah. I feel like going into that deeper is like when someone is being rude, like maybe, like show them the extra kindness. Be like, hey, like, are you doing okay? Like,
this is so unlike you.
Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah.
That's happened to me a lot. Not like
Yeah.
me doing it to other people, but other people doing it to me.
Yeah.
But
I think usually people are just like overstimulated and having a really tough time. And like, I don't know. People go through really hard things.
This is a little off topic, but like, are you good at hiding your emotions?
Yes. Yeah. I think from my husband, not so much.
Okay. That makes sense.
You know, like he
Yeah.
can be like, oh, Brenton's having a tough day
Yeah.
today. But I think from other people, I'm pretty good at hiding my emotions. What about you?
No.
No?
Well, I don't know. I feel like my family have gotten good at like, okay, being able to just hide them. But yeah, if I'm having like a really bad day, like it's noticeable. Like I cannot, like the one thing, just giving away all my secrets. If I'm sitting on the floor, you guys, for an extended period of time, I don't know, something about the floor when I'm sad is just like, it's where I want to be.
So if you're on the floor, though, you're not doing good.
Well, sometimes it depends, but if I'm, there was a few weeks ago that I was having a rough Sunday and I was at church and I thought I was doing a great job hiding my emotions. I wasn't talking a ton, which I don't talk a ton anyway, but yeah, it was apparently super noticeable. I had like 3 or 4 people like, are you doing okay? And then finally the pastor, who was also like pretty much like a father to me, was like, what's wrong? I was like, I'm fine. Sit down. No, you're not. Like, are you really going to just like lie to me? And I feel like certain people will know you better than others, but I'm not good at it, guys.
But then it like being the person who can be like, hey, sit down. No, you're not. Let's talk about this.
Yeah. And sometimes when people are showing you kindness, you don't want it in those scenarios.
I agree.
It's like, no, leave me alone. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But later on, it's like, okay, no, like that was the right thing to do. But sometimes it's not fun in the moment.
When my son was born, he was born early. He was like 4 pounds when he was born. I had to have an emergency C-section, like the whole shebang. So my church is really good at like getting meals to new moms, right? And so when they reached out to me to be like, hey, like you're going to have a baby soon. What can we prep for you? And I was like, oh, maybe like 3 days of food. Like no big deal. We've got this. It's like, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Right. And then all of this happened. And like, I live 2,500 miles away from family. And so like, they couldn't get here to help out. And like, it was a lot. And like, Jordan had just started a new job and like, we just had a lot going on. And the woman that reached out to me reached out again and was just like, we couldn't stop people from signing up. So you have 2 weeks worth of lunches and dinners coming to your house. Yeah. And it just like being people who would step up and just like do something to help somebody who really needed it, who didn't realize that they needed it.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was like, I'm fine. I function fine in pain. Like I'm good. I can do this.
I can do it.
Right. But like I couldn't walk down the stairs. Like I could barely pick up my kid. Like I was really struggling.
Yeah.
And so the fact that like they signed up and made me accept their help, like I am much more readily available now when I'm like, someone's having a baby, let's get them food. Because I see the benefit. Like I totally appreciate how much work goes into all of that. Yeah. But that's being the person who can be kind of assertive and be like, no, we're helping you. Sit down and tell me about your feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kindness, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Like they're showing kindness.
Yeah.
And you may not like it at first, but
you need it.
We're like, I don't need that. Why would I need that? I'm fine. May not. So
no.
Accept kindness.
People can tell. Yeah.
And it's a little selfish sometimes, I think, when someone's trying to be kind to you and you don't want to accept it. Because it's also for them. Like, yes, it's for you. Yeah. But like, what is that doing for them?
It's like you're like denying them an opportunity for an act of service. Yeah. 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 So stop being selfish and let people be kind to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like that perspective. I think it just goes to show that kindness really is everywhere if we're looking for it.
Definitely.
Like if you're keeping your head on a swivel, you will see it everywhere that you are.
So I think that's what we should do.
Yeah.
Moving forward. And if you're watching this episode, take the week or the month or the day and like look for those things. And if you think of anything or you see anything really cool, like please like DM us or
please share it with us.
Put them in the comments. Like,
oh my gosh,
like,
please
let
share
us
it.
know.
We hope today's episode gave you some inspiration to spread some kindness in your own life. It really doesn't take that much to make a difference. Thank you for tuning in to LightHearted. We're so grateful to have you with us, and we can't wait to explore more ways that we can all bring more light into the world.
Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already so you never miss an episode. And don't forget to follow us on our personal TikToks. Those will be linked below. On filming days, we film Get Ready With Me's, and you can ask questions, and we might talk about the topic a little bit.
Yeah, we get really weird.
We do get really
during
weird.
our
So
Get
you
Ready
may
With
not
Me's.
want to watch it, but if you do.
But you also might love it.
You might. So go follow us on our personal TikToks, and then go follow us on Instagram at LightHeartedPod. You can DM us questions or, like we said earlier, the kindness thing, and just let us know. You can follow us there and get updates and all the things. This episode was recorded on Buzzsprout in West Virginia.
That was so good.
Thank
That was
you.
so good.
Below, we film Get Ready With Me's. We film Get Ready. Those will be linked below.